A fascinating piece of information came out of Cassidy Hutchinson's testimony, and it wasn't so much her testimony, but a piece of information that Liz Cheney shared with us at the end of it, where she expressed or articulated the fact that people had been reaching out to individuals who were going to testify, who were planning on testifying in front of the January 6th committee, and effectively threatening them or reminding them the possible repercussions of them telling the truth or testifying. And so Liz Cheney outlined that they hadn't yet identified which individuals who testified this had happened to, but they told the story of these individuals getting phone calls where the person on the other side of the phone said, hey, you want to stay in the good graces of the Trump, camp? Hey, he is going to be reading the transcripts of your testimony, and we really hope you'll do the right thing during your testimony, suggesting that they maybe shouldn't share certain details, maybe shouldn't share the truth about what happened on January 6th. So that was kind of vaguely laid out by Liz Cheney at the end of Cassidy Hutchinson's testimony. Then there was a moment on CNN where one of the CNN reporters broke down how they had also gotten sources telling them that this was happening, and this is confirmed that potential testifiers in the January 6th committee and who are going to testify in front of the January 6th committee are getting phone calls of a somewhat threatening nature about the information that they're going to share. So let's take a look at this revelation on CNN.
Some important new reporting this hour on the January 6th committee and at least one of its witnesses. Sources now tell CNN the panel's star witness from the other day, the former White House aide Cassidy Hutchinson, was contacted by former colleagues in an attempt to influence her testimony. CNN's Caitlin Polance is with us and leading this reporting. This would be a wow. What do you know?
It would indeed. So Cassidy Hutchinson did tell the committee that she was contacted by someone attempting to influence her testimony. This is being confirmed now by Casey Hunt, Ryan Nobles, Zach Cohen, all of our colleagues doing this great reporting. And this is something right now that is fleshing out a mystery that Liz Cheney teed up at this hearing on Tuesday. On Tuesday, as Cassidy Hutchinson is sitting there at the end of the testimony, Liz Cheney turns and says, she raises this specter of witness tampering, and she describes that the committee, as they're bringing witnesses in, has been asking them, has anyone contacted you? Has any former colleagues contacted you? Can you tell us about any attempts to impact your testimony? And Cheney did not reveal who the witnesses were. We can say now one was Cassidy Hutchinson. But both witnesses that Cheney gave examples of received phone calls. And these phone calls, Cheney quoted them being things like people saying, telling witnesses, do the right thing. You want to stay in good graces in the Trump world. Trump does read transcripts of these hearings. Make sure you're aware of that. Another call someone received was that someone was saying to the witness that he, an unnamed person, wants me to let you know he's thinking about you and you're going to do the right thing when you go in for your deposition. So we don't have more information about exactly which one of these examples Cassidy Hutchinson is, but she did sit for 4 closed-door depositions with the committee, and it is something that the committee has promised they'll return to.
And I'm guessing we don't know the answer to this question yet. Congresswoman Cheney, the vice chair, did promise this would come up at a further hearing. Do we know in Cassidy Hutchinson's case who the phone call was from?
We don't at this time.
So unidentified individuals are calling people, including Cassidy Hutchinson and other individuals who testified in front of the January 6th committee before their testimony and saying, do the right thing. We're going to be watching. Trump reads transcripts. You don't want to fall out of the good graces of the Trump camp. And even though none of that's incriminating at all, witness tampering is. The particular phrasing could be perfectly fine if it wasn't within the context that we know it to be. I guess that's the way to say it. So if I was giving a friend advice or talking to a friend before they testified, maybe I would say, I'm going to be watching, do the right thing, like completely harmlessly. But because it's coming from the Trump camp, it could be incriminating because witness tampering is a very serious crime. And if they're trying to influence people not to say certain things, to bend certain details to Trump's favor, that would be witness tampering, but it would be very, very hard to nail someone down on that. Hopefully, as they identified in that video, we might be learning more about these interactions and these phone calls to see if it does rise to the level of witness tampering.